And it's actually important that we actually look as NECSTouR of how actually we can join action to have a common approach to overcoming the big challenge of implementing the SDGs in tourism at local level and regional level. So with that, I'm going to actually just explain quickly how it's going to happen. We're going to have a video in a minute. Then I'm going to introduce Carolee from UNWTO, who will go a bit about tissue. No, UN. Sorry.
Leave the WTO.
I'm British, we can't get anything right.
Oh, you're leaving everything now.
Leaving everything. We'll be leaving the planet next. Anyway, and me and Jan shouldn't be together. Then we're actually going to go through with me asking questions. The panel will speak from the table. They've got a maximum of 5 minutes, which actually means 3 minutes, or else you won't be eating. So I'm going to really ask you to speed up, because what we want to do is then have a dialogue in the room about those challenges. So that's why we want to really open up and get through the formal bits. So they will be very important, what they're saying, but it's very condensed. But I think if we're ready, I don't know who I asked to get a video to play. Are we ready for a video? Here comes Sandra.
Here's a video.
Ah.
Hey guys, I've been nominated for the Tourism 17 Challenge, so I'm going to spin around 17 times for a tourism that protects our biosphere.
Hallo, ich bin Ingrid und mein Ziel ist Tourismus 17, für einen Tourismus, der unsere Meere schützt. Juhu!
我是静文，我在这里为17旅游环保概念发声，让我们一起保护文化遗产。
Hola, soc la Maria i faré 17 voltes pel repte Turisme 17 per un turisme accessible per tots I totes.
And I want to do the Tourism 17 Challenge for a tourism that protects endangered species.
আজকে আমরা করতে যাচ্ছি Tourism 17 চ্যালেঞ্জ। এই চ্যালেঞ্জে আমরা আজকে শিখব একে অপরকে সাহায্য করা।
Tiem turistiem, kas palīdz ģimenēm un vietējiem.
Este é o lugar que escolhi para fazer o meu desafio Turismo 17 em relação a todos os voluntários e turistas do mundo.
Ander nahi, eta gaur turismo 17 erronka bat eitxean nuen. Bertoko kultura eta tradizioak manteniteko asmoz. Venga, ba!
Thank you for that. Before we start the main panel, I want to introduce somebody a minute. But first of all, we all know about management, but to manage, you actually need to be able to measure, or else you actually have difficulties in managing. So it's a great honour to have Carolee Kovacs, I hope I got that right, who's the Chief of Statistics of International Trade in the Services section of the United Nations Statistical Division. I can never say that. Who would actually like to do some introduction on the importance of the work they do and how it impacts on tourism. Carolee.
Thank you very much. And as there is one UN, my colleague from the European Economic Commission promised to talk more about the SDG, and here you are. So let me start with the beginning, or a kind of beginning. In 2012, the General Assembly adopted a resolution, The Future We Want, and in paragraph 130, it declares sustainable tourism, and starting a quotation, we emphasize that well-designed and managed tourism can make a significant contribution to the 3 dimensions of sustainable development, has close linkage to other sectors and create decent jobs and generate trade opportunities. We recognize the need to support sustainable tourism activities, promote environmental awareness, cultural diversity, and improve the livelihood of local communities by supporting their local economies and the human and natural environment as a whole. End of quotation. 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets demonstrate the scale and the ambition of the new agenda, building on the Millennium Development Goals and complete what these did not achieve. The first attempt to measure globally indicators actually started in the Millennium Summit of the General Assembly in 2000, where 189 member states of the United Nations agreed to help citizens in the world's poorest countries to achieve a better life. The development process was led by member states with broad participation of the major groups and other civil society stakeholders. The UN Statistical Division, my office, was part of the process, and the UN Statistical Commission, where most of the member states' national statistical offices are present, reviewed the process very closely. This year, the Statistical Commission discussed 3 reports. One is the Interagency and Expert Group on Sustainable Development Goal Indicators, where the report gave an overview of the ongoing work on the implementation of the global indicator frameworks for the goals and the targets. It is also presented proposal for refinements, a proposed schedule for revision, and the mechanism for moving indicators from one tier to another. And just for your information, as we speak, this group is having its meeting in Ottawa, and my colleague from UNWTO was part of this discussion yesterday, which concerned the indicators we're going to talk a bit later on. The second report was the report of the high-level group for partnership, coordination, and capacity building for statistics for the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This report provided a summary of the activities of the high-level group and also details of the proposed global action plan for sustainable development data and an overview of the first UN Data Forum. And the third report was the Secretary General report, which was entitled Work on the Review Progress Towards the Sustainable Development Goals. This report provided information on the work carried out by my office, UNSD, in cooperation with the UN system in support of the 2030 Agenda. The UN Statistical Commission agreed upon anonymously a draft resolution for the consideration by the UN Economic and Social Council for adoption. And this resolution would support very highly the indicators. The sustainable tourism appears in 3 goals, actually, but you just see 2 on the screen, because actually 14 doesn't have an indicator which relates to tourism. So we have 3 indicators in 2 goals, 8.9 and 12.B, and the indicators 8.9.1, tourism direct GDP as a proportion of total GDP and its growth rate, which is a tier 2 indicator, which means that we do have the measurement framework, but we don't really have a systematic data collection on it. And the other 2 indicators, namely the 8.9.2, proportion of jobs in sustainable tourism industries out of the total jobs, and also 12.B.1, number of sustainable tourism strategies or policies and implemented action plans with agreed monitoring and evaluation tools. These are tier 3 indicators, which means we don't really have a measurement framework and we do not obviously have data collection on them. UN division is working very closely with UNWTO on several projects, and I would like to point out 3. The working group of experts, which is focusing on developing the measurement of sustainable tourism indicators. Number 2 is the framework for measuring sustainable tourism indicators. And the 3 is drafting a compilation guide for tourism satellite accounts. And these documents is intended to support the compilation of the named indicators, and the preparation is ongoing. Last, I would like to inform you that my office prepared and the UN Secretary General launched the Sustainable Development Goal Report for 2016, which presents an overview where the world stands relative to the 17 goals, and supported by multiple charts and infographics. So everything is available on our website, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And I should have made it clear that Carolee came all the way from New York to be with us over these days, so it's really, really good. We now move on, because we'll take questions at the end, so sorry for keeping us moving. The next 5 sessions are going to be quite short and answering a question. And the first one comes from my friend Jan at Flanders on residents' attitude, and particularly how did Flanders aim to integrate the results from the work in Bruges? Over to you, my friend.
Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, Chair. Just very, very brief. You can look to the carrying capacity of a destination from the point of view of the residents, from the point of view of the tourists, from the point of view of the tourism sector. My colleague, and the honor is all his, my colleague Vincent Mazen and good friend, conducted as part of his MBA research on the attitudes of residents towards tourism. I'm not going to bother you about methodology and all that kind of stuff. Just let me present the conclusions of his research from, and there they are, from 3 points of empowerment: the psychological one, the social one, and the political one. And I'm, as a matter of fact, Peter Burns, I'm very happy with your last dia from the Vietnamese children presenting, because it's quite an iconic view for the things I'm going to say about the carrying capacity of a destination. The conclusions are: try to keep or to get your residents on your side as a tourism DMO. Make your citizens more proud. Prove them the social effects of tourism. Give them a voice. Try as much as possible to eliminate the negative impacts of tourism and communicate with your residents about the positive impacts of it. Let me be this one. I also, as my colleague, will be very happy to ask or to reply to your questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's
very good.
Very good.
Very good. Now moving along the panel to my fellow Celt. I think we've decided we're not British anymore, we're just Celts. Gets around the problem a lot.
It's trying to stay in.
Yeah.
No comment.
Cornwall might become a county of Scotland. Anyway, moving quickly on. And Visit Scotland's been working in partnership with the industry, looking at Sustainable Development Goals. In particular, question for Lee is, how do you make tourism more inclusive and competitive, and your thoughts on that question?
Okay. Thank you, Malcolm. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I will try to be brief, not as brief as Jan, but certainly within 5 minutes. Otherwise, NECSTouR have assured me that they have a finger on my ejector seat. So, okay. Last night, Mr. Rifai mentioned inequality of education and inequality of economy. This, of course, means that many people are excluded from participating in tourism. So, what I'd like to share with you today is an overview of a project led by Visit Scotland in partnership with industry that enabled nearly 1,000 people excluded from tourism to take part in holidays in Scotland. This project, it was the first time that Scotland has taken a coordinated approach to social tourism that has contributed to a number of the UNWTO SDGs, reducing inequality, improving well-being, and I believe that it also demonstrates the potential of social tourism to build a more sustainable and inclusive industry. So, first question, why did Visit Scotland get involved? There are 3 answers. The first is quite simply there's a need. Up to 1 in 3 people in Scotland wish to, but are unable to take a break. This includes 250,000 families. Many of these families are struggling with some of the toughest challenges that life can bring. The second reason is that at Visit Scotland we see a break as a human right. So, recognising this, we now have an official remit to make tourism more inclusive in partnership with the tourism industry. And the third reason is more competitive. If 1 in 3 people are not participating in tourism, that's a huge number of additional visitors with clear potential to support SDG 8, inclusive and sustainable economic growth and employment. So for us at Visit Scotland, the question was no longer why should we do this, but why wouldn't we do this? So what did we do? What did we achieve? Visit Scotland works directly with over 5,000 tourism SMEs. So we used our profile and our reach to engage a range of businesses from across a number of sectors: transport, accommodation, visitor attractions. And we asked them, can you donate what you have? Can you donate product? And we were very clear on our objectives. This is not about PR for your business. It's not about immediate business benefit. It's about inclusion, tackling the effects of inequality, and quite simply, it's about enabling others to enjoy benefits of a break, which many of us are fortunate enough to take for granted. The project was called Scot Spirit, and in total we worked with over 30 industry partners, large and small. Their generosity was truly inspiring. We then partnered with a reputable charity, the Family Holiday Association, who then packaged and distributed the breaks amongst a whole network of charities across Scotland. All of the families involved were on low income and had at least 1 child under the age of 16. The breaks took place between May and October last year in 20 locations across Scotland, urban and rural. In total, this partnership with industry, led by Visit Scotland, enabled 254 families to take a much-needed break. This amounts to 979 people, including 555 children. It's quite telling that 58% of those families had never had a break together as a family before. So, very quickly, I'm aware of time, what is the impact of what we achieved? Well, we interviewed all of the 1,000 people, certainly the parents, and the results are actually quite humbling and inspiring in terms of the impact on the well-being of these families. It's also a reminder for me personally of what tourism can mean to us on a very human level. If you permit me to just read a few quick statistics. 94% of the families were able to cope better after the break. 75% had more confidence. 81% got on better as a family. 69% felt less stressed and worried. 94% felt more optimistic about the future. And 100% had more fun and were able to create happy memories, which is surely what tourism is also all about. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, what are our challenges lying ahead? The first is to build on the success of this pilot. Partnership was crucial to last year's success, and we want to replicate this. We want to nurture it, and this, of course, refers directly to SDG 17 partnership. We need to raise the profile and the potential of social tourism and use our own profile at Visit Scotland and our own stakeholders to create industry ambassadors. The key question is this: will businesses and industry get involved ongoing beyond a pilot? We believe they will. We surveyed the 30 partners involved, a very small sample, but we believe the results are indicative and encouraging. 100% of those businesses believe social tourism can make a positive difference to inequality. 77% of them believe it can also be beneficial for business and business reputation. And 65% of them believe it can also bring additional visitors to their business. So, where does that leave us? Surely, this is a win-win situation, a win for inclusion, a win for tackling inequality, and a win for the tourism industry. So, in summation, ladies and gentlemen, Visit Scotland will strive in our commitment to develop this exciting initiative in partnership with the tourism industry and other strategic partners, to make tourism more inclusive, to help tackle the effects of inequality, to boost well-being of the families involved, and to nurture the benefits of social tourism for a more sustainable tourism communities, jobs and growth. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Lee. We'll now move on about the governance aspects around sustainable tourism, and we'll hear from our beloved Patrick. How is the work that Catalonia is doing with regards to the Sustainable Tourism Year, strengthening those partnerships and promoting the whole agenda? So I'll hand over to Patrick.
Thank you, Malcolm. I will be brief. I will be brief as Lee or even as Jan. But I will be brief, but our commitment is strong. The commitment of the government of Catalonia with sustainable model of tourism is strong from some years ago. And we think that the commitment of the public agents is crucial to develop this kind of model of sustainable and competitive tourism. It's for that we focus our activity in 3 main goals related with governance, as Malcolm said. Only with an intelligent governance model we will have opportunities to drive our tourism in a more sustainable way. Our commitment with this competitive and sustainable tourism model in Catalonia is long. Our strategic tourism guidelines for 2020 defined a competitive and sustainable model for Catalonia, and in this model the governance of tourism using public-private partnerships platforms is one of the best ways to develop that. And the alliances with other destinations, creating networks, NECSTouR is the best example of that, becomes the best way to spread tourism policies to the local destinations. Is that how we are developing the content of the Goal 17, Partnerships for the Goals? And one of these internal partnerships is the one we created with the city of Barcelona and with the province of Barcelona in 2013 in the RTD7, the Responsible Tourism Destinations Summit in 2013, that had as a conclusion the Barcelona's Declaration. Now, the same agents, we are organizing the International Conference on Sustainable Tourism for the development of the new urban agenda from 17th to 19th May. Improving our cities is the goal number 11, sustainable cities and communities. Then is the second one. And the last challenge we are facing is related with the travel industry and his infrastructures. Number 9. The Catalan Tourist Board, the official body that promotes Catalonia as a destination, have decided this year, this sustainable year, to offer for free the marketing and promotion program fees to the companies that can prove that they had sustainable certifications in force. Certifications from GSTC, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, like Biosphere. The first video that introduced Malcolm in this panel is the video is 17 Challenge. It's a video created in collaboration with our partners in Barcelona, the Barcelona province and the city of Barcelona, and with our colleagues from Basque Country and from Canary Islands, just to express that these 5 destinations are certificated by Biosphere, by GSTC, by Global Sustainable Tourism Council, and our intention with that is to have this option to explain that our commitment is strong not only as a destination, but as a network of destinations that could share best practices, experiences, and obviously goals. Then is one of the certifications that we use in this campaign. The other one is obviously the EU Eco-Label. For us, it's important to reinforce that. And at the end, the certifications of environmental quality of the government of Catalonia. This promotion will be a great opportunity to reinforce the role of the sustainability labels and certifications among the travel industry. Companies that can prove that they have sustainability certifications in force would have our partners, would have our allies in this fight to maintain sustainability as a main axe to develop our tourism in Catalonia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We now move on to the topic of protecting the environment for sustainable development, I think, José. How do you see your work on protection of the environment contributing to the climate action?
Good afternoon. For the beginning, in Galicia, 50% of visitors come because the landscape and the nature. So we have a brand, and we have to, on one hand, protect that brand, and in the other one, we have to promote tourist use and make it compatible. In goal 13, fighting against the climate change, we think the most important topic to combat the climate change is in transport. So we have not direct competence in transport, but we can improve a different way to be a tourist. Most of them are related with the slow tourism, which is implemented in Galicia as well as in other regions. What we are doing in transport, we are promoting using trains. We have touristic trains, touristic trains offer, specialized in different touristic products. One of them is, for example, the lighthouse in the coast of Galicia. It's linked to environmental areas. It's well positioned in Galicia. But also we have the Galician Rail Pass. So the people can buy after make the way of St. James. As you say, El Camino de Santiago is our main touristic product. Here they can buy the Galician Pass rail, and they can use for 3 days using all the trains inside the region. So we can promote using train, and we are trying to keep the visitors in Galicia for several days more. They can buy it if they borrow before a long way train with Renfe, which is the Spanish company for train. They can buy it, or if they certificate they made the way of St. James. In the other hand, we are fighting against climate change in energy, in accommodation. And we have a new regulation for hotels, which include more than 300 criteria to add points to get 1 to 5 stars for the hotels. And more than 10 criteria are related for the environmental and energy responsible using for the hotels. So, and we have grants for the private companies to implement more efficiency energy in the hotels. That's for the 13 goal. Yeah.
And now we have friend Teresa from Toscana around the topic of sustainability certification. And the question really is, how is this initiative contributes to the responsible production and consumption and inclusiveness and the sustainability of cities? So, and I know you're going to be quite short because we're running out of time.
Very short main message, to be honest. So this project it's more than project, is a line of action, is a program called Vetrina Toscana, where this program was made, started 10 years ago. It was made by 3 regional departments, Tourism Department, Agriculture and Health, with Chamber of Commerce and Association for Consumer Protection. The idea was to raise awareness of the value of local production and local products to improve the synergy between farmers, between producer, consumer, and also sailor and restaurants, and small shops, small gourmet food shops. And so the main action of this program are the agreement between restaurants and small business shops and food shops. In this agreement, the main commitment of entrepreneurs are to use local foods. At least they should have one menu in the restaurant totally made by local foods, to use at least 30 wine brands, to use the oil of, the local oil, and this is one side. The other side is their commitment to take part in educational programs and to train their staff as well. The other part is to be, to act as a pilot database for evaluate actions, but also to improve program or similar programs. Another connected program is the Pranzo Sano a Casa. That means, Pranzo Sano fuori casa. When you eat outside home, you need to know how to use the better food, to choose the better food. So the main outcomes are this. So far, we have around 1,000 restaurants, because there are, restaurants. There's really high turnovers, but these are the last numbers, and around 300 gourmet stories, and they are part of the database panel research. The communication campaign is very strong. You can see the label, Vetrina Toscana. You can have an interesting look on the website, in the multi-language website, and also is very much connected to, as I told before, this other project, Pranzo Sana Casa. This aim is raise awareness and education. So the main message is that we are willing to go on this. In fact, in our new regional tourism law, the main concept behind the regional law is sustainability. There are specific articles dedicated to links between producer, consumers, and sailors, and small business using and give value to the short chain and local products. So I invite you to come in Tuscany again, or for the first time, but and to choose for this brand and enjoy and taste our excellent food.
Okay,
thank you so much.
Thank you, Teresa. And last but not least is Suzanne, who's the policy officer of the EU Eco-Label in the DG. Well, I won't do the rest. But I want to ask you the question, how does the Eco-Label on tourism accommodation contribute to sustainable tourism goals? And again, quite short, really, because we want a dialogue.
Thank you, Malcolm. I'm also going to try to be very short. Hello, everyone. This morning we have learned a lot about the tourism sector contributing to economic growth, also green growth, of course, and that's very important. And it was outlined how the responsibility, environmental responsibility this brings. And the European Eco-Label is a very practical tool, European tool to transform to promote the transformation into a green and circular economy. I could obviously go on for a long time showing how many SDGs the Eco-Label contributes to, but I picked one, and this is probably the most prominent one. It's number 12, sustainable consumption and production patterns. And it helps in at least two ways. For the tourist accommodation in this case, it really helps them to better their environmental performance and to even realize savings, cost savings when saving energy or water, but also cutting down on waste and food waste, for example. So it really gives a very clear perspective, a strategic perspective, where to start and where to go to by becoming more environmentally friendly as a tourist accommodation. It also includes, of course, training of staff, because that is a very, very basic element, that the staff actually knows what they are doing. But it also helps this tourist accommodation to communicate this, and not in a greenwashing kind of wishy-washy way, but in a very clear, very transparent marketing approach. And that is the other part of the 12th goal. Then the 12th goal has actually one target, and that is it says by 2030, ensure that people everywhere have the relevant information and awareness for sustainable development and lifestyles in harmony with nature. So as a result of that, within the 10 years framework program of the United Nations, guidelines are developed to actually lay down basic principles of what this kind of information is. And as Jan has said, it also points to the fact that we need to empower consumers to make the right choices and make them very easily, and that they can actually trust in them. So the basic guidelines say that this information needs to be reliable, it needs to be relevant and clear, transparent and accessible. These are the basic guidelines. And the EU Eco-Label has all these qualities. Needless to say, can I have the next slide, please? There is another happy occasion. It's not just the Sustainable Tourism Year 2017, it's also the 25th anniversary of the European Eco-Label. I know it looks younger than it actually is. And I can see a very happy wedding coming along. I would also like to invite you to a couple of events that we are planning in this occasion of this anniversary that we are planning throughout this year. The next occasion will be on the 8th of May. There's EMAS Award. We are very closely, of course, connected and working together with EMAS. And within this EMAS award, there's also a conference in Malta under the Malta presidency of sustainable tourism on the 8th of May, Malta. And the other event is the Green Week, end of May, beginning of June. There will be events around the green jobs, and we have heard a lot about the potential of the tourism sector to boost green jobs. So also a very good opportunity to see the connections and to gather the fruits and benefits of all these actions. This will take place end of May, 31st of May in Brussels, and I would also invite you to connect and to collaborate further. And I have to also say that throughout this whole day, I'm very impressed how NECSTouR brings together so many engaged actors and so many great initiatives. It's truly inspiring, and I wish that we continue this throughout this whole year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We now want to open this up, but I think the one thing that's come out with the connections, which I'll sum up at the end, is this role of partnership, and it is about partnership and collaboration. But I think I'm looking at Anya now to give her a bit of warning from South Limburg. I think because we've got a couple of one from South Limburg and one from Itoa. But I think the other thing is partnerships is also working with the private sector. We've got some examples all the way through. But I don't know if you want to contribute anything from your experience of working with the private sector, Anya. I don't know if there's a microphone. Anya's over there.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, what I think is a challenge when working with the tourist sector, someone is trying to call me, you feel it in the, is that you have, on one hand, you have very professional companies like hotels, shopping chains, etc. And next to that, you have the Papa and Mama companies. I think you all know the Papa and Mama companies. And I think that it's very difficult to reach those. I addressed that also yesterday. And what I saw the last 2 days and heard is that with the policies we are thinking of, we will be able to reach the professional companies, those who have shareholders, that have directions, that have staff to think about sustainable tourism. But I think there will be, we call it in Holland, the managing group, and then you have the peloton, like in the cycling world. And I think it will be a challenge to reach them. We did some efforts in Limburg. We made, for example, a handbook that is for B&Bs and small hotels with very plain suggestions. And we used your documentation, and we did research with the Cologne Business School in Germany to get suggestions for those small companies to implement it. But when we then, after half year, ask how is it proceeding, what are you doing, then it has not yet been implemented enough. And what I think will be important, that's also good from the gentleman of the regions yesterday, I forgot his name, is that there will be done an effort to reach those Papa and Mama companies, because they are, at least in my region, 90% of the beds. So we have to step down and find solutions for those people who are not in all the connections we have.
Okay, thank you very much. And another question to the audience. Oh, certainly, we'll take this intervention.
My name is Natasha Busichak. I'm from the Croatian Chamber of Economy from Croatia, obviously. I just wanted to continue on your what you had to say. We have also 70% of our beds in my region, which is Split and Dalmatia region, are privately owned homes. And we have found a way to gather them in an association which is under the auspices of the Croatian Chamber of Economy, and we organize various educations for them in such a way. So in answer to your question, that might be a way. Okay.
Yeah. Well, my problem is, we must do that. We try to organize that, and that's why we're now having this scan that we, over the bank, try to come into their, on their kitchen table. But it's indeed, you have to come close to them, but then also you have to have policies that they can implement that what we are wanting on a higher level. That it's practical to use for them. And most things we develop on European level as tools are not usable for the small companies and for those B&Bs. That's what. But we did courses too, but then you see only 10% comes to show up because the rest has to work and make breakfast.
Okay. To go into the... okay.
Hello, I'm Ana Moniche from Andalusia region. We manage the indicator working group here. And I wanted to seize this opportunity that we have Susanne here from Ecolabel. We are really interested in measuring, and as you say, we are very engaged actors here. So I would like you to help us with the measurement issue, as you produce or you are in charge of this Ecolabel scheme. We would like to help us in order to measure these standards, quality standards and environmental sustainability standards in our regions and in all the sectors, in order to produce statistics for us, in order to measure these sustainability issues in our regions. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I'm just one intervention I'm going to prompt. Oh, sorry? Where? Up the top there.
On the top.
Well, halfway up the top.
Hi everybody, I'm from Sardinia region, Emanuela Manca, and linking to what just said by Ana Moniche, I wanted to add that it's a common interest, of course, of I think I can say something for the region of NECSTouR, but we've got as well some very good best practices in Sardinia. And recently we started to measure the benefits of the eco-label, but as we know, unfortunately, we are also losing a lot of certified hotels because Italy was the first in the European countries, and now we are unfortunately losing some accommodation certified. So we are very interested in measuring and showing how strong is this kind of label and how it can improve to reach all the goals as well. So we are very interested as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm just going to ask, sorry, somebody else? Where? Not very good at.
Hello, I'm Patricia Scarate from Responsible Touring Institute. Linked with all that you are saying, we have developed a responsible touring certification that try to measure how to improve the objective of sustainable touring with a new guidelines and new standards. And also we've got an online tool to help these small enterprises that are most of the Europe now, to help them to achieve the minimum goals and to and use it as an improvement, because for us, Biosphere Responsible Tourism is a methodology for continuous improvement and to try to achieve the sustainable goals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm just wondering, because we've got one more intervention from Itoa, but have the panel got any responses? Because we've had 2 or 3 questions now, so I don't know if anybody wishes to respond. Huh?
Oh,
I'm just looking at the end. I think it's Suzanne.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, and I'm really happy that you're I can see that you're really engaged and you are trying to make it more visible, and we will always encourage that. If I had known I get homework, I would have been more careful probably. I am sensing some homework to take back home. But I would like, maybe we can meet afterwards and discuss it a little bit further with both of you, what we can actually do. But I know that is a very interesting topic, and there has been some research going on in the past, but I think that needs to be updated as well. And I would invite you to discuss that further, how we can move forward in this. But I see that is a very important question. And for I don't know the first question regarding the SMEs. I think you're absolutely right. It is different if you're a big company. If you're a small company, it's always different. I mean, big companies have their own problems. So I'm not saying that's all fine for them, but it's certainly more difficult for very small bed and breakfasts or mama and papa hotels. For the eco-label, I don't want to bore you with the technical details, but I just want to point out we have tried to accommodate this by setting mandatory minimum, so to say, requirements and optional requirements. So we are trying to accommodate this flexibility approach so that even smaller companies and even in different regions you have different problems, that this can be actually addressed. So you have a flexible approach with the choosing optional criteria, and you can say, like, I am putting my focus now on this area and maybe later on another one. So maybe we can share this later on as well and discuss it a little bit further, but that's how we try to address it.
Okay, thank you very much. Is Jorge here from, I see you, from ETOA, because obviously sorry? ETOA. So we're talking about partnership in the private sector, and obviously you play that intermediate role. So we'd love to hear your observations.
Well, hello everybody. Yes, actually, I think we really have a privileged position in that regard because we're in the middle of it. So achieving SDGs is obviously one of our main targets, especially for this year. And we could probably talk about number 8, number 12 or number 17, partnerships for achieving the goals, etc. But what we really are trying to do is get more communication between local authorities and the actors, DMOs, DMCs, and we're happy with the results that we're achieving because they're listening to each other and improving the way they, for instance, do product development. And when it comes to product development, you have to take into account sustainability, of course, and environmental policies. But sometimes we see people who make the policies don't have the chance to pay attention to actors like people in Flanders, for instance. So we try and help and, provoke communications, meetings, you name it. And the second thing, obviously, is our own communication with DMOs, with DMCs, with local authorities. And when I say that we truly have a privileged position, is because we hear from everyone and we are able to ease things sometimes and push things some other times. So from that regard, it's thanks to NECSTouR for giving me the chance to be here today. It's really, really interesting to hear what all the actors in this important year have to say. And of course, I'll be very happy to answer any other questions during the day.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it's very important that regions working with local communities, local businesses, but also intermediaries and larger elements come together on this agenda. Have we any other questions or anybody want to make an intervention in the audience? Because I'll start to sum up.
Can I make one myself? I think the previous panel called up for action on tourism for blue growth. I briefly and diagonally read the paper they made. I'm missing one crucial point, I think, and I'm a bit referring to the research I dealt with you. And what I'm missing in the paper is a bit the problem of the carrying capacity of coastal destinations. And I'm looking especially at the moment that cruise ships are arriving at those destinations. It's a flow of people coming into the destinations. And regarding the research in Bruges, the most negative aspect by residents is precisely the moment that cruise ship passengers are as a big flow coming into the city. So I think when we call for action, we cannot forget the problem of the carrying capacity of coastal destinations at that moment. So we take this really into account.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other interventions, or are there any other? This gentleman there.
Sí. Thank you, Joan Torrella from the Barcelona City Council. Two different aspects. Third aspect is a cruise impacting the city. But first, before that, two comments that around the ITOA intervention, because an ITER or I Institute, Responsible Tourism Institute, because two things, different things. One line of work that we are doing that probably is interesting to share with you is that we are, as a city certificate, as a tourism biosphere destination from 2011, and just this year we are reviewing this certification and the criteria that is included or considered within this certification, trying to adapt to the urban community, the urban context more closely, and in the same time trying to create the figure of the role of added to certification, less committed, but also with an important engagement with the destination for companies and other agents, tourist agents in the city. Is a middle way between not do nothing and to have the certification. It's more easy, and I think that is a good way for engage companies to the destination when the destination is certified. In relation with ITOA, I think that the public-private partnership is very important for the city like us to work together with the big companies, trying to imagine in the long-term period which kind of product is less aggressive for the city. I think that we think that the marketing has big consequence for the destinations. The kind of marketing that we have and we do, and it's important to think together with the private and public sector how to make these marketing policies, trying to reduce the impact of the consequence of this marketing in the city. Which kind of product, which kind of sell of the city we have together. And with ITOA we have started this in Barcelona in 2 different meetings, this way that is interesting for us. And in this situation, the cruise lines is in Barcelona precisely, a very important impact for the city. And we need, in fact, we are starting contacts with them for thinking together how to reduce this impact, because it's obvious that it's a very important sector or industrial sector for the tourism. But really, when one cruise arrives in Barcelona, in some days are 30,000 people together in the same time arriving in the Barcelona port, and the consequence for the mobility of the city, for the residents and for the small places is really, really important.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Just one last one, because I'm just aware of time. There's a nice gentleman there, if you can get the microphone to him.
Thank you. Just maybe a question for the panelists. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think I haven't heard the term cohesion, which is a term very important in the European Union regulations. Do you think that tourism has something to do with cohesion? Is it something that should be an issue for tourism responsibles? Just a question.
Okay. Anybody wanted to take it on the panel? I think probably Lee's answered some of that about cohesive societies. Anyway?
Well, if you're talking, what kind of cohesion are you talking about? Because that can can have different meanings. If I hear to my friend Lee here, cohesion is about trying to have more residents, more people, more citizens to be involved to have the possibility to go on holiday or to have a recreational fact. So the moment is, well, what do you mean by cohesion? It's
I don't mean by cohesion. I just mentioned the term which is embedded in EU regulations and legislation. I mean territorial cohesion is an issue that may be related with tourism, and also social cohesion, which is also related with intervention which the city of Barcelona is very much concerned, as Venice and many others. So I think that is not just a political issue, it is a crucial issue when we talk to tourism and how to improve tourism, sustainability, etc., etc.
I think that's probably a discussion over lunch, looking at the time. That's a big topic. I just want to wrap up a minute, because there's a lot of connections you've probably noticed between the regions and the different activities on many of the goals. And I think the Secretariat, working with the ExCom, will look around where the joint actions may come. I think there's one that's come quite shouting out, which is around the eco-label, and maybe a working group on that. That's one area. But I think there's also actually it's come about is actually how much is actually being tackled on the SDGs, but how much more can be done. So I think that's where we'll be taking it forward as a network and actually making it very, very strong. So got one last thing to make, which is me being a bit selfish on the microphone, being from Britain, is that Cornwall has been involved with NECSTouR all its time. Like Britain might be leaving the EU, we're not leaving Europe in Cornwall, and we can committed to ongoing cooperation with our European partners and great friends. So just that one last statement from a Brit. Thank you very much. Lunch is waiting. And what time are we due back? 2:30? 2:30. So 2:30. It's 45 minutes for lunch.